All right, we're in Cozumel and we just got everything unpacked. It doesn't look like it, but was meticulously chosen and put out here together. You can kind of see it behind me there. And it came in these cases. So we're gonna get a little unpacking and why we chose what we chose, and kind of help you see the process of the very beginning. You know, just we're not gonna skip straight to the underwater cool stuff. All right, bear with me because I'm gonna shoot this on my phone. Obviously all my camera gear is out for display. So we're gonna start with, where we started. Obviously, we put everything together beforehand, and then kind of packed it into these cases. Now this is a Pelican. I think it's a 1600. Been using for a few years, as you can see. Pretty beat up, but works quite well. Most of it fit into that, and then a little bit of it spilled over into the dive bag, but that's fine because we had the extra weight. So yeah, that's kind of where it all started, and that's kind of what you're looking at as far as travel. You can see that third bag, that's for my clothes. So for a general dive trip of 2 systems, that's the kind of luggage you'd be looking at. Now moving on to the actual gear, as you can see laid out over here. Most important, it starts here with coffee. That's number 1. And then from the least interesting, kind of moving to the most interesting, these clear bags are great because you can store your miscellaneous stuff. This obviously all your chargers, quick visual, see what's going on, spare parts, what have you, to keep organized in the room, which can get kind of crazy. A variety of mounts, tripods. I got a suction mount here, all kinds of caddies for the action cameras, DJI Osmo, GoPro, housing to go diving with the GoPro. Laptop. This is a cool little notebook that you can actually wipe the pages down with, so you don't actually use paper. An iPad, 2 solid state hard drives, and then kind of a separate video, maybe go over the workflow, because I think we got a pretty good one that lets you get your photos out into people while you're still on the trip. So stay tuned for that one later. We really can't have too many lens cloths. They're super useful, even with a notebook. This is a little SD card caddy wallet, which I used to keep separate in these little bags, but then SD cards ended up everywhere, so this keeps them protected, and it's also waterproof. Not that I ever anticipate being in a scenario where I need that to be waterproof, but you have it. A little blow-off thing for your sensors. I bring 2 card readers in case one fails. Generally speaking, a bigger multi-tool would be better, but I actually bring these tools with me just in case I need to put the handle on and off. This one's for trigger extensions, etc., and this is for the gear sleeve for the port of the Sony. My handy little iClite guitar pick for jamming out or taking O-rings out. This is accessory case of lube, iClite lube, but the small little ones are much better because they're easier to travel with. Flashlight for when you're diving, or if you need light in the room. I got 2 sets of Eneloop batteries. This is the chargers in the battery, so I keep basically a set on charge and then a set in the strobes, which we'll get to here in a second, so they can always be on deck for the next change out. And so the first system is going to be the Olympus TG6, and it's going to be used with this cool little FCON TO2 fisheye lens. Now, just a little note on this particular system, which makes it so cool, is this is the equivalent of an 8mm fisheye, and then you can zoom in to a 30mm macro. That's not achievable on any other system other than this particular setup here. And with this system, I'm shooting 2 DS51 strobes, as you can see, and 2 single arms.
Sorry,
now,
I'm still not sure about
Siri, don't need your help. And then the housing has the dome port for this lens on it. So those go hand in hand, and this gets attached to the camera, and then that actually as a set can just drop in and out of the back. And we'll do a quick video on how to put that together. And with the strobes, we have RC converters. So this camera has a RC flash mode, and that actually lets the camera know that you're using external strobes. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna let the strobes automatically adjust, even down to micro adjustments and very small outputs for macro. Very, very critical with this system to let you get the proper exposure. So we have 2 fiber optic cords, 2 sensors, 2 strobes, and 2 arms. And moving on to the Sony A7C, which is brand new. It's in the Sony Alpha line with the A7 III, the A9, but a much more affordable price point. Very excited to see what this can do in the water. With it in the water, I'll be shooting the Canon 8-15 fisheye lens with the Metabones adapter. I'm shooting all wide angle this week, no macro, so that's basically the only lens I'm going to shoot. And I'm going to shoot it behind our corresponding compact 8-inch dome port. I also brought the 16-35 f4, but I only brought that for topside use because I don't want the fisheye effect, and I want a more versatile lens for topside photography. And with that, this is the housing for the A7C. I've got a GoPro mount for the top so I can just shoot video while I focus on stills. 2 DS strobes. I did not bring spare battery packs for these. And the reason for that is generally a battery pack will last me all day long of shooting, and then I can use the compact chargers overnight, let them charge overnight, and then shoot them again the next day. So I don't really need a set of extra batteries. For this system, I have 2 dual arms. I do carry a spare battery for the camera, so one's in the camera, one's on charge, kind of like with the DS51 strobes. I have a dual sync cord with the Sony TTO converter, and like the other TTO converter, this one's going to let the camera communicate directly with the strobes for automatic exposure and micro adjustments, so you don't have to worry about that. You can leave the camera in manual mode, and you can still control your aperture, your shutter, your ISO, while the camera and the strobes communicate and make their own adjustments. I also brought a single sync cord in case I wanted to shoot just one strobe. That would be primarily if I was going to shoot macro, but I think this kind of just made its way into my bag. A couple of spare O-rings just in case. And then finally, just the DJI Mavic for some of the ubiquitous drone footage. And basically there you have it. It seems like a lot of equipment. Usually shooting 2 systems is more effort, and you don't need as much luggage if you do just one. But we're trying to cover a lot of ground in one short week. So that's it.